Welcome to Fearless Piano. Today we're going to be talking about minor scales, and there's a lot of theory for us to cover. So let's jump straight in before we have a little bit of fun with some music. So what exactly is a scale is a good question to ask. Well, a scale is a sequence of notes arranged in a particular order by virtue of either whole tone intervals or half tone. Let's get a little bit more specific about scales. In music, a scale is a sequence of notes ordered by pitch. Note the key word pitch. Scales are typically defined by the intervals between the notes. These intervals are the spaces or steps between one note and the next in the sequence. A scale can ascend in pitch going up or descend going down. The most common scale in Western music is the diatonic scale, which comprises 7 notes, each a whole step or a half step apart, creating a pattern of whole and half steps. The most familiar diatonic scales are the major and natural minor scales. For example, the C major scale consists of the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then returns to C, an octave higher. The pattern of steps on a major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Scales serve as the building blocks for melodies and harmonies and are fundamental to the structure of musical compositions. Different types of scales create different moods and are used in various musical genres around the world. So, when I started off teaching major scales a few lessons ago, I did so for a purpose to ensure that everyone understands what we mean by a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because you'll hear those numbers being referred to all throughout the lessons. The importance of minor scales in music. Well, let's check out a minor type of song for this illustration. So imagine a song that sounds like this. It's that unmistakable minor sound. Or now that sounds different. That is the harmonic minor sound because it's got this. So when we talk about minor scales, they are significant in music. What about this sound? That is synonymous with what you would call a melodic minor. The melodic minor has got a peculiar sound in that instead of the natural minor, which sounds like, this sounds more like. So it's dark at first. So we're going to take a look at those, all 3 of them, and I'll break them down with a few ideas. But for now, let's jump into a little bit of the theory just to make sure you've got a solid base. So, the types of minor scales. Number 1, natural minor scale. It follows a specific pattern of whole and half steps. So, the easiest way to look at this is on the key of A minor. On the key of A minor, the notes are just going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? And it's going to sound like this. So from A to B is a whole, B to C is a half, and so on. So let's take a little break from the screen just to make sure you understand the structure of this scale. Here's the structure. It starts like this. A to B is a whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So in essence, it's the notes in the C major scale starting at A. That's the easiest way to remember it. And of course, it goes with a minor chord. So you hold the chord, see. And that's the natural minor. It's called natural because it just comes directly from the C major scale. Okay. This scale is known for its ability to create a dark, sad, or melancholic mood. For those of you who are more advanced players, one of the tips I'll give you for the minor scale is to not shy away from using any of the notes in the chords you play, right? So feel free to play any notes in the chord. An example would be when playing an A minor, you can add everything from A to E like this. So if you play, that's a chord right there, like that. And then from D to A, that's a chord too. So if I just played, you see that? Or all 5 fingers. Simple. I mean, you can add any of these, and if I wanted to just play series of 2 and a space like this, space, and then space, you get this. See that? So when I'm on the key of A minor and I'm playing the minor chords and minor scales, I just do whatever I like. As far as the notes, it's very straightforward, you know. Like imagine holding down an A like this, but just play. See that? So that's a section of like an E suspended, but don't worry about the names. Just focus on how it sounds. See? It gets very interesting from there. All right, so as far as the C natural minor scale, like I said, dark sound, let's go back, dark sound, just the notes in A and C from A to A, and it's suitable for emotional and introspective context. Let's go to the next one. So this is the harmonic minor scale. It's similar to the natural minor, but with a raised 7th degree. What does that sound like? We'll take a look. What we have in this context is A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, and A. So that would sound like. So it jumps from F to G sharp. Let's take a look at that so you can have a good visual. A harmonic minor. So. So very helpful, especially when you're on the key of A minor and you want to return home. So let's say in the song you're doing. It's kind of stern. It's not as soft as an E minor. It's quite stern. Can even make it sterner by putting in that seventh note, the D. So. But it resolves nicely to an A minor. See? Like whenever you hear that, you know what's coming. Now, you don't always play the E major like that. Sometimes you could use a different chord like a G sharp major 7 flatted 5th. So this is a G sharp major 7th flat in the 5th, and then use an E on the bass. So you get, you must have heard this a few times if you listen to a lot of music. It's a very well-known chord and it's very helpful. So instead of just a plain E going to the A minor, you could do some like, that's so much tension. It's stacked with a lot of tension beyond just a instead. Hear that, so much tension. So if you were executing the scale with a chord like that, that would be, you see that, like, so you could take sections of the scale and make phrases for yourself. See, let's do that again. Plain E. And then the G sharp major 7th flattened 5th with an E bass, which could be called something else relative to E, but let's move on. So there are all sorts of things you could do with that, okay? All right, well, that again is the harmonic minor. Very curious sound. It's used in a lot of world music, used in classical music as well. It does introduce some tension, some drama. All right. It does create an exotical dramatic landscape. What I do want to point out is, even with a major chord down, this scale still does a lot of good. Like I'm playing an F major 7th. You would have thought that the notes will clash because I have an A, but if you play it on the higher octave, you see, even with an A, it's still not sounding bad. So regardless the notes, because it's just a short little passing note, it doesn't do much harm, but it creates that exotic sound. All right, let's move on. Moving on to the concept of the melodic minor. This scale radically alters the 6th and the 7th notes, respectively. Those notes were G, F, G, and then A. But instead, you're going to see F sharp and G sharp, which is a radical departure from the original notes. But here's the deal. It's, watch this. So it's dark at first. Hear that? The melodic minor scale is unique in that it has a different pattern of intervals when ascending and descending. When ascending, going up, the melodic minor scale raises both the 6th and the 7th notes, creating a natural lead to the tonic, A, of the next octave. Here's the ascending A melodic minor scale. A tonic, B major 2nd, C minor 3rd, D perfect 4th, E perfect 5th, F sharp major 6th, G sharp major 7th, and A the octave note above. When descending, going down, a melodic minor scale reverts to the natural minor scale, with the 6th and 7th notes returning to their flattened state. So you've got A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. This creates a scale that, when played in sequence, sounds different going up and coming down. But I'd like to take a note from the late great Chick Corea. When I met him at Cabot Hall in London, he gave me a quick session on improvisation. And you know what he told me? He told me that the key to improvisation is not in scales and chords and memorization of the sequence to run. Instead, he said, play what sounds and feels good to you, the executor. So these scales are nice to have in our arsenal of tools, but as you begin to grow and evolve, you do need to break free from robotically following scales up and down. In fact, right now, I want to recommend to you that you do not prescriptively run scales up and down when you're in a solo. I know it has its place, but try to expand your mind to free it from being relegated to a particular set of notes each and every time. So, going up. So that feel where it's kind of like bittersweet. It's kind of like a bitter-sweet chordal assortment in that it's dark first. And yeah, so the melodic minor scale, like I said, it alters the 6th and 7th degrees when ascending, but reverts to the natural minor when descending. And with that, that's one of the uses of that note, but that song is not entirely a melodic minor song, but there's snippets of it that emphasize the F sharp, even though on the key of A minor. So you do know this relative to A is the 6th. That's the natural 6th. So what happens? You depart from the minor here and just choose that instead. It's very temporary, okay? All right. Well, let's go back and wrap this up so that you have a wholesome idea of the entire story. So, minor scales, what do? They convey sadness, they convey introspection and depth. Harmonic minor introduces tension and drama and an exotic quality. Melodic minor balances tension with a touch of optimism. See that? Tension. Like a brighter future, if you will. But then it returns back to the sad A minor. And then some optimism, back to gloom. Some hope, and more hope, but back to gloom. That's how I see it anyway. Okay, so in conclusion, we've learned natural harmonic and melodic minor scales. I encourage you to experiment with it and relentlessly create. You shouldn't just rest on the basic minor, the natural minor. Transcend from the natural minor to risk-taking. Natural minor, but take more risks. I actually use this quite a bit, and I'll just do a little demonstration for you on my Motif XF8. I will play some, let's see if we can play a little bit of this chill beat. I'm able to find a sensible one. Maybe Night Train. Let's see how Night Train holds up. All right, A minor. A minor. So the minor key. Let's do a little bit of harmonic minor stuff now. Back to A minor. That's that harmonic minor note. Oh, melodic minor, I beg your pardon. That F sharp. Fun stuff. All right, now let's play something along the jazz line. Let's play Jazz Lounge, and again on A minor. Now, let's just play some natural minor stuff. Just run the scale however you want. You play along. all just white notes. Now watch when I use the G sharp. A little bit of that. A little bit. Okay. See that G sharp? Back to the minor, natural minor. Do I pull this chord? One of the advantages of being able to play chords on your left is you can always play the notes that complement the chord on the right. Let's go back to A minor. And I'm just using a pattern of notes, space 2, space 1, like that. Quite helpful with minors as well. Very helpful note. Well, that was a little bit of fun. Just remember, you got to practice, you got to experiment, and I hope as you do that, you find new ways of doing things. I hope this kind of helps in your minor journey. You take care. And thank you again, Glenn, for the question. Bye for now.